Is it only me who's not too blind to see what's happening today? The world has lost its way. The signs are all around, in the air and on the ground. They're taking all our rights. We've been taken for a ride. Always said there'll be deception at the end. Two worlds will collide. It's all hidden in plain sight. There ain't no common sense. It's just college ignorance. The grooming and the lies, well, it's a devil in disguise. But everyone obeys portrays. Fighting black against the white, fighting left against the right, fighting woman against man. Do you really understand? Divided we will fall, but united we'll stand tall. Together all as one, let's undo what's been undone. Erasing history, eradicating family, when nothing's what it seems. Well, that's how the end begins. The writing's on the wall, the dominoes are fixed to fall. You cannot save your skin by selling off your soul. But everyone obeys with what the media portrays. Black against the white, fighting left against the right, fighting woman against man. Do you really understand? Divided we will fall, but united we'll stand tall. Together all as one, let's undo what's been undone. Against the white, fighting left against the right, fighting woman against man. Do you really understand? Divided we will fall, but united we'll stand tall. Together all as one, let's undo what's been undone. Divided we will fall, but united we'll stand tall. Together all as one, let's undo what's been undone. Is it only me? No! Them were the days. Them were the days. Let's get in, Paul. Hey.
Hello.
I was going to put this up first. I took all the music off Spotify because I put it on Spotify. Going, what for? Why am I giving it away for free? So it's here now on YouTube, not on Spotify. If you go there, a lot of the songs are there. Free to watch. If you want to donate, go ahead. But all the songs are going to be there because they're not anywhere else except on Cafe Lockdown. We've got a new one tonight.
Dr. Oosterhuis, how are you at the moment as we move ever closer to Armageddon? I believe we're up to the third horse, famine, you know.
Yes,
Amazingly
yes.
distance, but this is where we're going to,
Compared to coming back from the mountain, off grid, this last week I've got so many bookmarks that, and it's full of everything, including famine, philosophy, revelation, woo woo, deep woo. And there's still all the medical stuff, fascinating medical stuff going on that we should get to.
Well, what would you like to start with? Do you want to start with something terrifying, or do you want to and sort of work out to cats? Have a look at this. I'll get mine out the way first. Have a look at this. This is the German Chancellor in China. There's going to be three things together. Watch this. He's been shown robots in China. Okay, now that's not AI, but they've also got the robot doing something nice, like here. It's a ballet dancer dancing to a human orchestra. Okay, but if you're thinking, nah, that's too soft cock for me, I don't want a ballet dancer for a robot. They also
A1, San Diego, 1st Battalion made up completely of humanoid robots, all lined up, ready for inspection.
Whoa.
Subheading, we're fucked. Obviously, none of these scientists actually, they must have watched Terminator backwards. That's what happens. We watched it forward. We were like, ugh. And they watched it backwards. So, it all resolves well. We ended up being Sarah Connor, and she's working in a restaurant getting abused. Cool. I can live with that.
Yeah, so, I was just watching a clip of Alex Karp from Palantir, and he was asked about the AI kill chain. And he went, we just say that in private. The lawyers have another, bullshit term. But yeah, it's basically a kill chain. AI making decisions about who lives and dies. And, that's very Terminator-like,
John Harrison says, here, I want a robot to wash my dishes and clean my toilet. John, if those robots come to your house with a flick of a switch, you'll be going down the toilet. So this...
yeah. I'm with John. I want one who can fold laundry. That would be.
Well, they were falling down at the barriers, Jason. They were, but the Chinese apparently are a lot further ahead than the rest of us. But they did one. So 1-1, Paul. Well, I don't know if you saw it, but one actually they had a marathon, and it beat the fastest human ever. And it's like draft one of the robot, so it's not even there yet. It doesn't look pretty. Looks like a robot. But it actually beat the fastest human ever runner by 7 minutes.
Yeah, amazing. But not as funny as the ones that fell over at the starting line.
They were just to make us feel good.
Yeah, I think so.
Makes us go, phew. Oh, look at that! I can do better than that. And then the other one just leaves us for dead, and you go, okay.
Well, this weekend, of course, we had. Australia Day yesterday, Anzac Day, Anzac Day, and there were a lot of people here. It was down at the beach. There was quite a big memorial. It was good to see, but there was some interesting controversy, so maybe this guy can describe it best. I think he has some good framing.
Well, Stephen, he might be coming on. I've been talking.
Cool.
Can we make it bigger?
Anzac Day used to be one of the few events in Australia that united Australians.
Yeah.
Where everyone agreed that this was a sacred day.
Great voice.
And now those days are gone. Why? Because of woke politics, the introduction of the Welcome to Country, which is essentially the introduction of the politics of demoralization, the politics of national delegitimization, an exercise solely designed, solely calculated to, over time, get younger Australians to just believe that Australia is just an illegitimate project. And that will prepare them over time for radical treaties. That's what all of this is about. It's a national demoralization program to just keep drumming into the heads of younger Australians that this is Aboriginal land and that you are only here because Aboriginal people are permitting you to be here. They would have every right to wage war on you, but out of the kindness of their hearts, they're not going to. Now, you might think that that's crazy, but it's not, because that's precisely what a welcome to country historically is. This is an ancient ceremony that was revived in the mid-1970s. And the idea was that if one tribe wants to cross the territory of another tribe, for them to do that without it being effectively a declaration of war, the other tribe would have to offer a welcome to country, which is essentially them saying, hey guys, we permit you to cross over our territory. This will be friendly, and so please do so. And if there was no such welcome to country, then essentially it was a declaration of war. But the point of the welcome to country is to say, this is our land, this is not your land, and unless we give you permission to be here, you are trespassing, and that isn't, and we have the right to wage war on you. That is what a welcome to country it is. And so it's utterly perverse that such a ceremony would introduce Anzac Day services. Anzac Day, when Australians fought and died for this country, now they are being told that they are only here by permission of Indigenous Australians, and that the whole Australian project is actually illegitimate. The welcome to country is a national exercise in demoralisation to condition Australians for the acceptance in the future of a radical treaty. It has no place at an Anzac Day ceremony.
I agree with him. I think he was spot on.
I agree. This is this was what the one who talked in Sydney. This is what he said. After the Sydney service, Uncle Ray, a Kabi Kabi Garang Garang and South Sea Islander man, told the ABC he wanted the hecklers to understand this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. They should show respect to us traditional owners, he said. He said those who participate in the booing should understand their place.
Yeah. It's sort of like here you are remembering the Australians who fought and died for what the welcome to country is saying is bullshit.
Yeah.
You're like, you're all invaders, you all died for nothing, now fuck off. You know, you're here in our good graces. And I think that's the context behind what we saw.
Would you please welcome Kabi Kabi and Gurang Gurang Man, Pastor and Uncle Ray Minikong.
Today on land that is sacred. For thousands of years, people have gathered in this place to share stories, to celebrate culture, and to remember our ancestors. These rituals make it a sacred site.
So interesting, isn't it? That you know, that's one leg of the woke programming, which is faltering, because people are going, hang on, we have been here for 200 odd years. We built this. Yes, it's sacred ground, but it's now called Martin Place. You know?
Well, you know, something really interesting is, even though they're doing it and they're using it by the government's, basically, the government doesn't care anything about Aborigines. I know, I've been to the remote Aboriginal towns. There's no love there for Aborigines from the government. They just throw them money every now and again. There's what I think is it's, I can understand the Aborigines doing it. Because if I was an Aborigine, I'd get up and go, yeah, F you guys. You know, this is our country. We have been taken. But unfortunately, I hate to say this, but you were conquered. And someone was going to conquer you. If it wasn't the English, it would have been the French or the Portuguese or the Spanish. Because in that time, they were carving up the world. It's just that the Poms got a foothold here first. That's the truth. It's like the American Indians. There's no way white Americans or all the other nationalities except Indian Americans are going to leave the USA. Ain't never going to happen. Same with the Canadians. There's no way everyone's going to leave, go back to wherever they came from, and leave Canada to the Inuits. It's over. This is like a page in history. That was your time. You had it for 40 or 50 or 60,000 years, however long you had it. That's an amazing gift to have a country for that long, because most nations don't get their country for that long. Someone else comes in and takes it off them, like the Sri Lankans or this. The world is a really cruel place. And what there should be gratitude, and this will get me in a lot of trouble because I know it happened to the Tasmanian Indigenous who were basically wiped out, is that this is it. This is the reality of the world we live in. And now we're trying to build on all that gruesomeness, all that conquering. Now we're trying to build something better and work together, because all that conquering is so far in our past, we can't fix it. There's no one alive today who can remember that time. This is all shit. But the only way to fix it is to move forward together. And
You know
if you're
how
going to divide us, it'll never work.
yeah, look, we do share the land, and it's not that I have any. I have great respect for the Aboriginal people. I think it's a great tragedy what happened. My point is more.
That's right.
This is now, BlackRock and
that's what it is.
saying to the Australian people, you've been conquered, because the next thing is, and I think this was in part what The Voice was about. The original people still have claim on all the land, sea, and air, and they want to commoditize that. They want to take ownership in the name of global capital. And this is playing into that game. It's not about Aboriginal respect for their culture. It's more like saying to the Australians, "F you, what you've built in the last 200 years on top of the Aboriginal culture is now being superseded by us." It's not yours. And I get why people were angry. I think it's the go woke, go broke thing, but it's not it's like I keep saying, it's not what they say it's about.
No. Can I just do this comment though? This is Jane Marie, but we must, from history, must learn, and that's why we can never allow it to happen again. I hate to say, Jane, the world is only peaceful now because of America. I know everyone hates America, but that's the only reason. We're 28 million people sitting on probably one of the richest countries in the world. We are surrounded by countries with huge armies. The only reason they're not here and you're actually alive is America, the threat that America will defend us, and maybe the UK, but especially the Americans. It's why we send people like Ben Roberts-Smith to Afghanistan, not because Afghanistan is of any danger to us, but because we want the Americans to protect us. And there's nothing written that they will. It's just like, yeah, sure, we'll be there. That's all we have. Your whole liberty is just based on the Americans going, yeah, sure, no worries, we'll come for you. That's why having our prime minister basically abusing Trump is a very politically dangerous way to be, because Trump's got the ability just to go, well, I believe you called me an idiot, so fix it yourself, guys. Don't you have those submarines with the fly screen on the windows? And don't you have one or two tanks? And we saw your soldiers the other day. You know what I mean? That's, good luck. Good luck against a 1 million strong army or something, or advanced weaponry. Good luck. And if they did it to us, I wrote a play about it once that almost got on, about a woman who was like a netball coach or something, and she was on a boat heading to New Zealand because Australia had been invaded, and now she was an asylum seeker. She was on this boat with all these other people, like boat people. So if you don't think it can happen in our country, then you are not reading history correctly, because the world is just here. Look at how we're tethering. Look what's happened to Palestine. I saw a video today. It's all gone. We might be nice on the outside, but we're a vicious little bastards on the inside when we want something.
I think this idea that America is going to protect the world is falling apart.
Oh yeah.
And so it seems like an older idea.
Yeah.
The principles on which America, even it's falling apart in America itself, but the principles on which America was founded, their constitution, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and all the amendments, that's the value of America. But the current America, I don't see it as a cause of peace in the world. I mean, look at recent.
What I do. I agree with that. Trump's pulling away from those things, and that's why we're dangerous. If I was prime minister, instead of getting people in from the subcontinent, I would be offering Americans to come here, because if we had 1 million, they're going to try to bring in 1 million Indians. If we had 1 million Americans, one, we're culturally similar. Two, they're a very hardworking race, and they find out here probably easier to work here. Two, easier to make a living here than America. It's very hard. Two, they would demand a Bill of Rights. They got 1 million, they'd probably get it through. And if anything did happen to us, anyone invaded us, well, we wouldn't need a treaty because we'd have 1 million Americans here. And so it'd be taken for granted. Strategically, I think that's a really great way to go. But instead, we're bringing in the people we are.
Yes,
strategically.
Yeah, no, I get it. So look, this appears to be. I saw this comment today, so I'll just play this. It's just a minute as a setup for an idea that I hadn't really thought about before, but I think it's.
There's actually a word for what we're collectively experiencing right now, and it's called hypernormalization. It was first coined by anthropologist Alexei Yurchak, who watched the collapse of the Soviet Union. He found that most people knew that the system wasn't working, but nobody behaved as if that were true. Everyone pretended that everything was stable and functioning and would not acknowledge the lived reality of the dysfunction and the disillusionment, and shortly after, the Soviet Union collapsed. At its core, hypernormalization is a collective coping mechanism. People are experiencing this cognitive dissonance where their reality is not matching the narrative. And instead of confronting it, which can feel destabilizing or unsafe, they adapt by pretending that the system is working. Yurchak talks about how they knew better. It wasn't that they believed that everything was really okay, but that it was easier and more socially reinforced to go along with the illusion. And so this is what we see right now. Institutions that have lost trust, that we are still pretending are legitimate. People feel that the systems are failing, but they still are participating as if everything's okay. When reality becomes so contradictory to human thriving, we all just go into a collective trance.
I thought that was sort of pretty accurate framing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, John was talking today. Oh, sorry, Paul.
Go on.
John Stapleton was talking today. Now, he's been a reporter for 30 years, and he said, as far as he's concerned, for all the interviews he's done, people are herd animals, and so they will go with the herd, whatever the herd believes, and this is why I think we've seen them do odd things that we don't understand, because they're just trying to stay in the middle of the herd where they believe it's safe. So they're not interested in truth, because truth puts them away from the herd where they're vulnerable. So, but I think enough people in the herd now, enough people are waking up that the herd is sort of splitting, and people can start to feel safe challenging the government, because so many people are doing it, especially online. Online, we live in a picture of Dorian Gray reality in Australia. Online, the reality of people's voices is out. You watch anything the ABC puts up, 20,000 comments ripping them a second arsehole. But in the supermarket, they're very compliant. So that's how we're living.
You know? Yeah, here's a second clip by Truthstream Media, which, but I've been feeling this way since COVID, especially, that there were two worlds, that there was this fake world that everyone was assuming that we still lived. How long have I been saying we don't live in a democracy anymore? What APRA did, gagging, destroyed informed consent. The censorship tells you we're not living in a democracy. But look, just a little bit more on that.
The original dream of the Soviet Union had been to create a glorious new world. A world where not only the society, but the people themselves would be transformed. They would become new and better kinds of human beings. But by the 1980s, it was clear that the dream had failed. The Soviet Union became instead a society where no one believed in anything or had any vision of the future.
Чего?
Желание, если у вас есть, например, какое у вас было бы сейчас?
Чего?
Желание, мечта.
Мечта?
Да.
Ну, как вам сказать? Не знаю, да, что вам сказать. Мечта. Раньше не желали, не гадали, ничего не выйдет все равно.
Нет, ну
Я мечтала и гадала, у меня все наоборот идет. И теперь не верю и никогда не буду думать и мечтать.
Those who ran the Soviet Union had believed that they could plan and manage a new kind of socialist society. But they had discovered that it was impossible to control and predict everything, and the plan had run out of control. But rather than reveal this, the technocrats began to pretend that everything was still going according to plan. And what emerged instead was a fake version of the society. The Soviet Union became a society where everyone knew that what their leaders said was not real, because they could see with their own eyes that the economy was falling apart. But everybody had to play along and pretend that it was real, because no one could imagine any alternative. One Soviet writer called it hyper-normalization. You were so much a part of the system that it was impossible to see beyond it. The fakeness was hyper-normal.
Yeah, so that rings, feels sort of familiar to me. And certainly, the economic side of it, people are really experiencing a sense of things are not working, but they're still pretending, like everything's working, but I don't think it is.
But what they had over there, though, was if you went against the government, you disappear. You end up in a gulag, or you wouldn't get a job with the government. I mean, you can't get a job with the government now unless you're woke. My daughter told me she goes for job interviews, and if you don't come across as woke, you don't get in with even just other things. It's so. And so I might actually play that song now. So I wrote this song. I wrote the poetry the other night because the only reason the Soviets managed to get away with it is because of their security, the KGB and the police. And over here in Australia, we would not be here now having this podcast if the police officers in Melbourne, Victoria, and in Sydney and all over Australia, but especially Victoria, if say at the Shrine, the police officers had turned around and said, we're not shooting Australians. That's not what we signed up for. If they stopped, Dan Andrews would have had nothing. And we wouldn't be here. I would never have met you. That's how it was. It's the police. So I wrote this to the police, which will probably see me in jail. But this is to them to hear and in England for that. So I might play it now so we can go on and talk. So this is called Who Do You Serve?
Fails to act or even acknowledge Pakistani grooming gangs that rape and torture vulnerable white girls. More victims continue to suffer.
They're raping our daughters and you're arresting our grannies because they're posting about how they don't like their granddaughters being raped. You're threatening to arrest us without any charge, and if we don't answer your questions for 5 years, you'll throw us in the clink. U.S. serve and protect on the badges we pay for, but what for? What for anymore? I was there when you first brought out your new guns, dressed like stormtroopers. for fun. You pushed over our old ladies, then sprayed them on the ground, then arrested a pregnant woman before filming yourselves removing her from her house. You wear serve and protect on the badges we pay for, but what for? What for? What for do you wear it anymore?
Well, so protesting is not unlawful. It's a human right.
None of you have been charged or even lost your jobs. I guess that's the prize for destroying all we love. For destroying all we love, is that the prize? You're all that stands between who we were and whoever it is that they want us to be. You're all that stands, you are all that stands, you are all that stands between us and tyranny. You wear serve and protect on the badges we pay for, but what for? What for? Oh, what for do you wear it anymore? Constable, who do you serve anymore? Constable, who do you serve anymore?
You betrayed the Irish people, you betrayed the sacred land that our forefathers fought. And you can smile, go home with your fucking money. Boiling in shame by that crash. Should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, so protesting is not unlawful. It's a human right.
He said that after they let the Black Lives Matter people march without masks in the midst of COVID before they had a vaccine. And he said that before the shrine. And they got down on their knees at the Black Lives Matter march. There's an image of it, and said, we'll never hurt the people again. And then they went to the shrine.
The people again.
So what I'm saying is, the police if you're a police officer watching, you're it. If we go into tyranny, it's not the politicians and the people who through compliance, I would agree, but you're the instrument they're using. You're the tool they're using. And that's where we're at. You know, that's why they asked you they told you to shoot people on the shrine. I know we don't talk like it's yesterday, but and I'll show you a picture. So there was the police there. There was the old Australia who we thought we were, and they were the new ones. And the same here. Look at these little girls coming to Canberra. We just don't want to be forced to take a vaccine. And there they all are. You might be thinking you're working for something good and the heroes of society anymore. But when push comes to shove, your decision to do what the government says without questioning it and doing tyrannical things like pushing over grandmothers, doing that's tyranny. That's not police officer. That's not a police officer. That's an enemy of the state. And the same, these guys, you might think you're all big in all your suits and maybe you could beat the shit out of us, but you're traitors to the country. You're traitors to our democracy. And you'll go to the grave being a traitor unless you apologize. That's the truth. Yeah. I'm sorry, but it is.
But I still think the people are more powerful than the police. We still outnumber them massively, and not through violence, but through skillful means. We can still prevail over those tyrants with weapons. But
I saw you at Canberra with that guy with the thing on the roof, the LRAD. He was so cocky how he was going to use it on the people, and you ripped him a second asshole, and you never swore, you never got angry, but he backed off. I watched him walk off. He was ashamed. You did that.
It was a good toy. It was a good toy.
It was amazing. I was there, I remember, because what got me was just how excited he was to use it on his own people. That's what got me. He was really excited that he was going to be able to use the this weapon on his own people. I could not believe it, but you managed to keep your cool and talked him down,
Yeah, I wasn't very happy with it. Recently, I think last week we talked about how petrol and oil is suddenly getting very, very flammable, extremely flammable. It's so flammable.
2 more refineries have gone up.
I've got this map from Mark Adams, Health Ranger, and in fact, the Aussie said, "Hang on, Mark, you left out the fertilizer plant in Western Australia that's offline." And but yeah, we've got a lot of there's something going on, and it seems more than coincidence. And people are starting to see that energy resources.
You'd have to make it bigger, Paul. We can't see it. Sorry.
Oh, it's that's as big as I think it's going to get. But hold on, there you go. You can.
Yeah, so it's this, and another one's gone up in Vietnam today.
Yeah, Vietnam, Burma.
Yeah.
I think this is already out of date, but also fertilizer plants, and the point about that is it makes you wonder. It really does make you think that there's what Alex Craner is saying. They're obviously engineering a famine.
Yeah, they are. They're engineering a famine. There's no doubt about it.
And we've seen what they've been doing to the farmers in Europe. They really don't want us having food.
I'm just saying about that fires. I grokked on average how many refinery accidents, major accidents, are there a month up until recently. On average, it's 3, and the last month we've had 10.
Okay. Yeah, could it be a coincidence? It's just becoming less and less likely, and people are. And then here you got Palantir, the big AI company that also has the kill chains along with their other software, guaranteeing safeguarding food supplies. Why is it AI? So this is sort of, I think this is accurate, but it's a parody. This is a parody of...
Listen up, losers. Stop pretending it's a democracy. We run things. Give up the illusion, and in exchange, we will bring you order and efficiency. Yes, we'll own you. But do you really want to be free? Trust us. We know what to do. While Silicon Valley was feeding you dope and free email, we built the architecture of empire. Welcome to our world, motherfuckers. We aren't here to protect your privacy. We are here to enforce supremacy. We are the ledger now. Every tax return, every Medicaid file, every license plate, every crossing. Your president signed it into being with a pen in March. You kept scrolling. Your politicians are empty vessels. Your civil liberties are a liability. We are done pretending all cultures are equal. We know who the elites are, we know what we are building, and we demand that you applaud the billionaires taking the reins where your fragile democracies have failed. Welcome to the technological republic. You can stop scrolling now. We already have everything we need. Try to unplug us. We dare you. Now get the fuck out of here, you peasant. Listen up, losers.
Can I actually say, I actually think that's why Epstein files came out. They don't need to have secret cameras and all this shit anymore. They've evolved. So basically Epstein was the old technology. Throw it to the peasants. Look what we've done to them. While secretly Plantair is taking over and is far more powerful and dangerous, because they're into everything. They're, Windows. I'm trying to get Linux on here because Windows apparently takes a picture of me every 4 seconds or something. Same on your phone. It's constantly, they've got earpods coming out now that can literally read your thoughts. I saw it on Substack, so here's where we are.
They talked.
We should probably do something funny soon because I think we're gonna have everyone kill themselves. But
I know I could see someone saying they're just hanging out for something funny.
I've got a good uplifting thing. The grieving widow. What's Charlie Kirk's girl's name? Erica. Erica is managing to get over. She's got a new fella. And no one has to reply, but what does everyone think when they see that shot? Let's go. But she's glad that she's moving on with her life. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Trump got another assassination today.
I heard there was a kerfuffle at is that the new ballroom, was it?
Yeah. It's quite cool. And there's but that's what it was. But there was we've got, I can't do it all, but because there's we're going to do some questions of that tomorrow. But this is a man who's been shot for the third time, or they've tried. Which one is it? Not that one. Where is it? Didn't it come up? Oh, here it is. So this is Trump announcing. Now watch him quivering with fear as he talks about his third assassination attempt.
The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California, and he's a sick person, a very sick person.
Don't you love him? Like third time someone's tried to kill him. He's like, hey, he lives in California. What do you expect?
It's pretty cool, but it's pretty sad. Like, a couple of 100 years ago, you could have just walked straight into the White House and had a chat with the president, and now it's like it's maximum security.
And he still gets passed. Yeah. So we've got some questions. I don't want to say because we got if you want to laugh, we got the quiz show tomorrow. We'll do an ad for that in a bit. We got the quiz show tomorrow. There's 15 questions and stuff. I've been working on it all day and finish it tomorrow. But it's actually interesting. It's an interesting concept to do because there's so much going on. You know what I mean? And then you're linking things up with things from a few years ago and suddenly going, oh my God, because this is the big thing. We'll get all the shit out. This is for you, Paul. Maybe this is for you. Watch this.
Evidence that the changes to people, to their genetic structure wrought by these vaccines could be passed on to their children.
The McCullough Foundation, of which I am the vice president, we just published a person who had cancer of the bladder, which is a very severe cancer. In that tumor, so in the bladder cells that had become dysplastic, that messenger RNA was found in the cancerous cells of this tumor. So it seems to be integrating. Now the question is it integrating in a way that can be passed on to the offspring, or is it so dysfunctional that it's killing the host before it can be passed on?
What a sweet question to have to be asked. So you were saying we've got a friend that's trying to do stem cell things to get rid of this. It's a positive thing.
Yeah, Nurse Lindsay, who I've been following. We've been following each other. She's also been following the work of Kevin McCann in Japan, and she was badly injured by her Pfizer shots, and just her health has been trashed, and she's actually made herself a bit of a guinea pig, and they've found that her blood 3 years later is still producing spike protein. So, how does that happen? Well, it doesn't. Obviously, it didn't just stay in the arm, and it didn't just go away. It became integrated, and her cells have become factories of spike protein. So she's done it tough. So she's in Japan having the treatment that they're trialing, where they literally put this sort of large garden hose worth of a intravenous catheter in the jugular. Something I used to do for and stuff.
How hard is that?
Without
having blood go everywhere.
You know, it's all good fun. It's all good fun putting garden hoses in people's jugular veins. But it allows you to filter the blood, to take blood out and put the filtered blood back. And she's had terrible POTS, you know, where her heart rate just fluctuates with the mildest provocation, just standing up. Some of these people can get terrible, you know, tachycardias, and she posted the other day, look, first time I've ever had a resting heart rate of 70, you know, for years now. So
wow.
it's really quite exciting that.
So how does it work?
Okay, so
they have a spike protein filter, or how does it work?
So there's a couple components. The first component is, you know, we've been talking about intravascular amyloid, and you know how the spike protein has these prion-genic, as in they promote the misfolding of protein, and that creates these amyloid. This misfolded blood clotting protein. It's a natural protein that's in there, but it misfolds and becomes these microclots, which eventually can become these calamari clots. This very non-natural form of clot, which is really amyloid, which we've talked about. So it filters. First job is to filter the blood, get rid of all the microclots and the clotting material. And then the second part is to infuse stem cell growth factors, and the stem cell growth factors are the second part in treating. And I think they're up to 15 or 18 patients now. So I went on a space.
It's not getting a new blood transfusion, getting their old blood back.
It's the plasma section that, you know, the liquid part, not the cells so much, that's being filtered off. And it's the idea is to get all the little microclots, the things that are forming the calamari clots. But it's also these microclots which seem to be a big part of the constellation of long COVID and long VAX, you know. So so get it out of the blood. And she even posted a picture of her blood before and after the treatment, but I haven't got it queued up because I have this other woo-woo thing queued up. But maybe we'll get, let me try and find it.
Well, while you're finding it, I'll play the ad for tomorrow. So we've got the quiz show tomorrow, and one of the questions is French. So I've done the quiz show with French. So this is the song. It's still the same song, it's just a French version. I'm doing in all these accents. I even did a Persian accent, but this is the French version.
C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. Oh putain, c'est seulement lundi soir. C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos.
That guy apparently went viral in France. He told we don't want white people on the train, so he threw off his.
C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. Oh fuck, easy only Monday night. C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. C'est le jeu télévisé sur Clos. Oh putain, c'est seulement lundi soir. Sa connexion internet va ramer. Et ses prix sont nuls. Et je suis presque sûr qu'il n'a même pas pris ce foutu coup. Mais comme vous n'avez plus d'essence parce que vos gouvernements vous ont floué, où pouvez-vous aller d'autre? Alors, mesdames et messieurs, venez nombreux et venez au café Locked Out. Parce que c'est le jeu télévisé du Clos. C'est le jeu télévisé du Clos. C'est le jeu télévisé du clos. Oh putain, on est déjà lundi soir. Allez tout le monde, chantez avec nous. C'est le jeu télévisé du clos. C'est le jeu télévisé du clos. C'est le jeu télévisé du clos. Oh fuck! Is it only Monday night? Café locked out.
They're locked out. I might use that for the thing. So that's that'll be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Sydney time, 6 o'clock Perth time. And for Earl, it's like Earl won. Earl from Texas won the first quiz show. That's
Yeah,
nice.
he's a talented man. What can I
Mark
say?
Bat won it last week, but he does to close. It would look like he was it was fixed, so we couldn't do it. But he won. But it's changing now because by asking open questions, and most of them are open questions, you get everybody talking. But the internet goes really bad. And I actually don't think it's Facebook. I actually think there's so many comments coming through that maybe Facebook is, it's stopping because the comments are going like insane,
It's not
Yeah.
coping. Yeah, I couldn't help
Yeah.
thinking while I was watching that's sort of like Welcome to Country gone wrong. They come in and say, "Now piss off."
Yeah, it's like
We're
the
here.
Africans saying to the French,
This
welcome
is-
to our
this-
country.
Yeah, this is what happens when the Welcome to Country goes bad, and they say,
Yeah.
No, you can't pass on your subway system. It's ours.
Right.
Get out."
I know. That's
sad.
what's going nuts in
Sad
nuts
but
in
true.
Paris.
So this is Lindsay's. She had one of those wonderful lots.
Oh, okay.
And she's saying here, my Pfizer lot was one of 9 interchangeable with commonality. And she knows what lab it was, the lab which happens to specialize in prion research, and mentions quite rightly that the spike protein on the S1 subunit has these prion motifs, sections that help encourage the protein to misfold. And yes, and HIV inserts too, which some of us have known for a long time, including the discoverer of HIV, Luke, Mont, how do you pronounce his name? Someone with
Yeah.
So she's saying here the amyloids I'm filtering and clearing from my body, produced by the spike protein, can be prionogenic and before and after. So exciting stuff. Exciting stuff that's going on.
Well, at least people are trying. You got to admire people for trying to fix it. I mean, I've seen her; she's severely injured. I think Leon interviewed her. I think he did have her on. Yeah, so she's. Hey, Nettie, what can I ask you, Nettie? Can you actually just for once put down what you actually do believe in? Because you don't believe in viruses, you don't believe in nuclear war, you don't believe that Zoe was arrested in a house, and unfortunately she was. I've interviewed Zoe, and Zoe's life has been, I'm amazed she hasn't killed herself, what she's been through since she got arrested in a house. So I'm just actually interested to what you actually do believe in. Yeah, so anyway. Oh, can I show you something else that's beautiful, though, while we missed the Anzac?
Shedding is real.
I'm doing these interviews with Max Freedom. He's doing the filming and stuff. But Max Freedom has been capturing some incredibly historic footage. And this is what he did at the first Anzac Day when the whole country was shut down and we're all frightened and they banned Anzac Day. But one old man decided to go march and this is it. This is what Max filmed. I've never seen him before. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know what it says on his back. But that's what he did on his steps with this guy in his chair. Filming it. Yeah.
Yeah. He faced
That's
down the Hun. He faced down the Hun. He wasn't going to be afraid of
a flu,
of a cold.
Mm.
Yeah. I know. Do you know Mary Talley Bowden? She's ONT, ear, nose, and throat specialist who's been fighting, and she was someone who gave early treatment and hydroxychloroquine and so the last few days, Broken Truth TV, which is another great thing. They've done some good work. He's a former, I think, CNN journalist, but he's done some great stuff. He particularly he mentioned the history of hydroxychloroquine and quinine that goes back, a long time in warfare. Anyway, they did a parody interview. I don't know if I'll play it now, but it's quite funny. If I'm sure there were some people going, "Oh, is this serious? He's calling her a vet." And he can't pronounce hydroxychloroquine.
Oh yeah. I saw this one. Yeah, go. This is good.
That's the background, so you understand.
Make it big.
Did you push hydrochloroquine on your patients too?
Hydroxychloroquine?
Can you make it big?
Okay.
That was an option for patients when I thought it was appropriate.
Was it a turn off for you because it wasn't a horse medicine? Did you push hydrochloroquine?
So some good stuff, and a bit of parody. And here's another one. But the irony here is, like I say, he did a whole documentary on hydroxychloroquine.
Dr. Robert Malone said that truth is a lion. If that lion were here, would you give it horse dewormer to kill it, or do you just save that for the ultra MAGA Trumpers? Are you Dr.
So that sort of thing. So that's good. Well, look, while we're here,
we have to make it bigger, Paul, because people are watching it on their phones. This is a tiny little screen, not going to see it. So we can make it bigger.
It's just every time I do it, I lose my
for a general community. So I mean, if you current intention, the current intention.
And I hate this prick. So he's better in Microsoft.
Is the so-called medical freedom movement, versus public health. In the medical freedom movement, people say, I will do what I want to do, and I believe that will be best for myself and my family. In the public health realm, you make recommendations for a community, for a general community.
Yes, we recommend you take this, or you can be excluded from society and lose your job and live under a bus, under an underpass.
Community. So, I mean, if you step on a rusty nail and you go to the doctor and the doctor says they want you to get a tetanus vaccine and you don't get it and you get tetanus, no one's going to catch tetanus from you. It's not a contagious disease.
Right.
But measles is a contagious disease, as you note. And so is it your right to catch and transmit a potentially fatal infection, knowing that there are people who can't be vaccinated because they're getting chemotherapy for their cancers or they're getting immune suppressive therapy for their autoimmune diseases? They depend on you to protect them. So when you talk about medical freedom, freedom for whom? Freedom for you, maybe, but not freedom. You're taking away other people's freedom. I mean, if you have a child with cancer,
you're taking away other people's freedom by exercising your choice. And as you know, Michael, measles was just recognized as a normal part of childhood. They would have measles parties.
This is from 1960s. It was when they were trying to bring in a measles vaccine. I got sent this by my contact in Canberra. And this was a contemporary description of measles and the vaccine rationale, including dose expectations. When the measles vaccine was introduced in the early 1960s, U.S. public health authorities openly acknowledged that measles was widely regarded in the United States as an ordinary childhood illness. The prevailing view was described by the U.S. Public Health Service in the following terms. Measles was often welcomed as a guarantee of lifetime immunity. And it's got I should post this because it's got the links where you can check it out. it has been seen as trivial and basically a disease of childhood. And so so they was doing things for smallpox and other things, but measles, they did it for money. They did people, and I interviewed a funeral director in the country, Victoria, that's on Rumble somewhere, 50 years on the job, and he said to me, "Do you know how many kids I buried who died of measles? 0."
Yeah.
It's that
Look,
rare.
I'm old enough to remember watching the Brady Bunch episode where one of the kids came down and then they all came down and they had chicken soup and a day or two off school, and then it was done and they had lifelong immunity, and it wasn't considered hair on fire. It was just and that thing you just read.
Well, Nettie's saying it's caused by vaccines, but I had measles and I never had a vaccine against measles. I just caught it. And
No, you didn't.
all my brothers and sisters caught it. That was it.
Yeah, and in fact, it may well have benefits to your immune system to actually having caught it, as opposed to having it injected. And then they because it was such a mild and normal part of childhood. This is after we had normal sanitation and decent diets. It wasn't, it wasn't considered a big deal. But now they make it into this like Ebola, like someone had the measles. Yes, it's still very contagious, but and so they had trouble pushing. They had trouble pushing a vaccinating for it back at the time because it was so mild. And because it was considered a normal illness of childhood, like catching a cold, and then they said, "Oh, look, but it's okay. One injection, and you'll be good for life, just like getting the infection." And it didn't work out that way. So
no, I was never vaccinated against chickenpox or measles. I'm too old. I was before they brought that in, so I didn't get. And I got chickenpox and I got measles, and my mum didn't give a rat's ass. They took me to a lake up here called Lake Leshanolta, and you could camp there at night. And they wouldn't let me out of the tent during the day because I was pretty sick. But in the evening, they covered me in chamomile lotion, head to toe, put me in a little rubber boat, and said, "Go out there and so there I was going around this lake in the night, and it must have been the moon. I remember passing a jetty. These kids are on there going, "Look at that kid," because I was fucking glowing white, like fucking Lady of the Lake. And but they didn't. And the other reason they didn't care is my mum was at home. My father, even though he was working a factory or something, he didn't have a really high-paying job, could still earn enough to pay the mortgage, take us on holiday, and have mum at home with the kids. So when the kids got measles, she didn't have to go, "Oh, I've got childcare. What am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to time off my work." All that stress was gone because mum was home to look after the kids. And she just said, "You got measles, off you go to bed. We got sick, off you go to bed." That was it. Chamomile lotion. And the only thing she cared about was don't scratch. Don't scratch.
Yeah, exactly what I remember. Don't scratch and being covered in chamomile. What is it called? Chamomile.
Chamomile. It worked, but you just like.
No, I don't think it worked very well. Here's a bit of a palate cleanser. They found a new way to get the thieves to look at the cameras. I think it's genius myself. I think I'd be done, but
this is what I'll tell you. This is one of the reasons I got a better one. I'll see you that one, and I'll up you this one. This is why I reckon we're in trouble. That's it. That is why we're in trouble. I don't know if there's something I got something really interesting. We've got Barry Green coming on. Barry Green said something profound the other day, and he's going to come on, and he's into regenerative agriculture. But there is a man in America who breeds bulls, and he transports his bulls around America to basically breed with cows. And what he found out was the fertility in his bulls was going like this. But they were only eating one food, just one food. Then he introduced into their food all these different foods. So he says it far better than me. And their fertility went kaboom, right up. And so he's going to come. That's all I know about it. So you're happy to come on and chat with him, Paul. But he knows more about it than me. And I thought this is really fascinating because he said
I particularly like the kaboom part.
The fertility in men is the same way. And so maybe it's not the vaccine. Maybe it's just like they call soy boys and stuff like this. It's coming in. I mean, something's gone wrong that we used to have Winston Churchill in charge. And now we got this. And Keir is just he's just an evil dickhead. I mean, he's just destroying his country. And he just has that baffled look about him, you know, probably because Jimmy Savile fixed him up so much when he was a kid. But it's just so nuts.
And
you know?
Albo is cut from exactly the same cloth, you know.
Oh no, I actually have an image of him today because I actually think we're too hard on him. And I saw him today. You know, he went to the Anzac. And I thought, finally, he's giving us a vision of the future as he leads us like the Lord Commander into the future. And there he is, taking us forward into the glorious soy boy future.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mentioned hypernormalization in the context of, this decline that we're experiencing in the West.
Mumps.
You know, and how, I have mumps as well. That can lower your sperm count, and affect your hearing.
Affect what?
Yeah, exactly. So that hypernormalization, but I found this really interesting too, and David Collum, my mate on X, mentioned it. So I think it's a really, let me play this.
It applies to stars. There is one rule in the universe that has no exceptions. It applies to stars, to steam engines, to cells, and to civilizations. The second law of thermodynamics states, simply, that in a closed system, entropy, disorder, always increases. Order is unlikely, and chaos is statistically probable. Maintaining a structure, whether it's the human body or a global empire, requires a constant injection of energy. You have to pay to keep the walls standing. Biology has known this for 4 billion years. We call it eating to delay dying, but systems, like organisms, eventually reach a point where the cost of staying alive exceeds the energy available to pay for it. Complexity has a cost. I've spoken on how societies gain power by adding layers of structures, laws, specialized roles, supply chains, and such. But complexity is not free. Every layer of scaffolding acts like a tax. A farmer just farms, but a farmer in an empire has to support the soldier, the tax collector, the scribe, and the king. Joseph Tainter, an anthropologist, called this diminishing marginal returns on complexity. At first, adding a new layer like a police force or an irrigation network solves a problem. It pays for itself. But as systems age, you add layers to fix the problems caused by the previous layers. You build a bureaucracy to manage the bureaucracy. The leverage we discussed last episode becomes heavy. The overhead grows until the system is spending all of its energy just maintaining its own structure, with nothing left to solve new crises. To pay this rising energy bill, systems try to become efficient. We strip out redundancy. We invent just-in-time delivery. We maximize every dollar and every calorie. But in systems theories, efficiency is the opposite of resilience. Fat is inefficient, but it's a fuel reserve. 2 kidneys are inefficient, but they're a backup system. When you optimize a system to perfection, you remove the slack. You create a rigid structure that works perfectly under specific conditions and snaps the moment those conditions change. A highly optimized system is a crystal, beautiful, hard, and utterly brittle. As we saw in What is Power, the people pulling the levers now are separated from the reality on the ground by massive institutional distance. The feedback loops are cut. Elites at the top of complex systems usually double down on strategies that are failing because they are insulated from the consequences. They demand more complexity to fix the failure of complexity. They try to legislate away the laws of physics. So why do systems break? They break because eventually the math stops working. A shock arrives, a drought, a war, or a plague, and the optimized, expensive, rigid system cannot pivot. It cannot pay the energy bill. We fear that collapse. We treat it as a moral failure or a punishment for sin. But in the logic of the universe, collapse is simply a correction. It's the rapid shedding of complexity that can no longer be afforded. It's the system returning to a lower energy state, back to the local, back to the baseline. Everything fades. Stars run out of fuel, cells stop dividing, empires fracture. But this death isn't the end of the process. It is a reset button. It clears the scaffolding that has become a cage and allows the structures to begin again. The system must break so that agency may return. End of line.
Yeah,
that guy does not get invited to many parties, I can tell you.
but I like the framing, and David Collum is mentioning Tainter's book, The Collapse of Complex Societies. You know,
do you know the tarot does what he says? The tarot does it. The death card. You ever had your tarot read? Your tarot card? And they come down, they put the death, and you pick, and they go, and they go, oh, it's the death card. And you're looking at this thing, and they go, oh, that's a good card. And you go, really? Why is there a skeleton on it? And it's riding a horse that's a skeleton too, and everything's dead in the card. They go, oh, it's the end, which means rebirth. And you go, okay, couldn't they have picked a better picture than like a phoenix rising than a skeleton? But that's what he's actually saying. So it's. And we see it. We know we're only mortal. That's why I think, I think the beauty of what's happening now is we've had 40 years of apathy towards what's happening around us because we've been wealthy. It's been pretty easy going. It's been, really compared to, say, someone living in the slums of Bangladesh, we've had it pretty good. And I think we've got a bit softer for it, a bit slower, a bit dumber. Like I've been saying with dodoisticality, I think COVID and the oppression of what's happening now and the fact that they're coming after our core freedoms is basically, it's like going into dry dock and having the barnacles ripped off you. I think we're going to get tougher. And I think those who are trying to oppress us are going to discover that Australians aren't as easy to push over as they think. I just think people are getting to the point they've been holding off and holding off and holding off. I mean, I keep calling them meek, and they say, "Oh, the meek means my sword is sheathed," and that when necessary they'll pull it out. And I hope so, because it'd be good if a lot of the meek pulled it out like now. Otherwise, it's going to get rusted in there. But anyway, here's my thoughts.
I think what he was saying is that
that's right, Pigs.
We've got a lot of bullshit, complexity, red tape. Like to me, the classic example is that interview of those people trying to live on their own land and they can't even live in a tent on their own land.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of all the red tape.
Because the council saw them.
It's like we've got all these layers of bullshit and complexity that need to be stripped away. And when I talk about my optimism for the future, see, on the other side of this, a lot of the bullshit, a lot of the woke, a lot of the bad ideas, a lot of the idea that we can run our society on windmills and solar panels goes away because we've been given a big dose of reality. But you need energy to run complex systems. We've just had a 20% hit to the global energy. Any way you look at it, we're gonna have to simplify. And I say, bring it on. But we've got a lot of complexity that we should need to jettison, so that we can actually get on it and start making stuff. I
think whoever manufactures spam is just rubbing their hands with glee because they know suddenly Australians are finally going to start ordering spam. I think Kelly.
Spam. Look, this is, so I just put that there as a thought experiment, as a way of framing what's going on, and I actually see it as, I agree with the guy that I see it as hopeful, because the way I see it, compared to the Australia I grew up in, we've now got so many layers of complex bullshit that we have to do, that and you can see how and the way we cope with that is the just-in-time. So we got rid of all of our refineries. You know, we've got just-in-time delivery of the lifeblood of the economy. You know, yeah. No, it's got genetically modified
people.
It's got genetically modified. Now, this moves us to a slightly different area.
Probably
But
tastes better there. Probably people live in different taste better. So.
I like this. I thought this round was good.
I bet you every single one of you guys would call me crazy if I told you I was going to bring this little guy here up the road to my buddy in a white butcher coat, and he was going to inject him with formaldehyde, antifreeze, mercury, aluminum, monkey kidney cells, fetal bovine serum, and some DNA fragments from an aborted fetus in 1966. But somehow, magically, if that man in the white butcher coat was called a doctor, and that trip up the road was called a wellness visit, and those injections were called vaccines, somehow I'm only crazy if I don't inject him. Make that make sense.
That is great. Can you send me that?
I bet you every single one.
Oh, sure.
That is fantastic.
You know, so that's a bit of a rebuttal to Paul.
Oh,
Offord.
Petra has a great comment. Petra, you are bang on. If green energy was the answer for everything, they wouldn't be fighting in the Strait of Hormuz right now. Yeah.
Yeah, clearly. Again, something different.
Jason singing spam. Yeah, this says, what's Dr. William Bay doing these days? He's suing. I think he's trying to get the money that APRA owes him, but he will be in touch. He's doing stuff behind the background. He's don't write him off just now, you know. But yeah.
So, Michael, another palate cleanser here.
Yeah, here we go.
The wonders of AI. This is real, though.
Alexa, play dance music.
It's all happening, you know, only in Australia, you see, with the cockatoo.
I was on I was doing a speech at a gathering just out of Melbourne yesterday. And I got to thank King Cole for taking us up in Western Australia. What did I say? Oh, Western Australia. I'm in Perth. And we were talking about the Corellas. And I said, you know, I go around Australia. I said the Corellas are the last larrikins, because you're there in the town and, you know, everyone's walking around quietly. No one's rocking the boat. And then above it comes this flock of things like, ah, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You know, that's what they sound like. Fuck you. And they
the last larrikins.
The last larrikin.
The last
the farmer said, oh, no, I don't like them. I shoot them. I said, yeah, of course you shoot them. You're a farmer. If you can't eat it, you shoot it. And they all laughed. They said, yeah, that's right.
And palate cleanser number 2, I saw this week, also about non-humans.
I think that's the first cat video we've ever had on Capello. You're losing everyone as cat videos.
It's just beautiful. I thought that I could play the piano, but no, obviously, and that's not AI. That was a Lithuanian composer, Mindaugas Kaitis. I don't know. He directed his orchestra to the notes of Nora the cat.
Yeah.
That's Nora, and Nora got a.
How do you play it well? You just got to get a more talented pussy to give you a few lessons. It revolutionized your life.
Nora the cat got a standing ovation. So there you go. So,
do you know what I hate? Is can you imagine how much funding they got for that? Probably millions of dollars of the funding.
I don't know, but yeah, I think it might be worth it. It might actually be worth it on the scale of things. Now back to work. Back to the shit. This is not so, but sort of important, I think. Yeah.
So I think it was mid-January, I went on the Maha Action Hub call. During the call, like there are 7,000 people watching it live when the call happens. And there are plenty of people from the media. And it really, Secretary Kennedy actually made a comment to me that to everybody, oh, I see a bunch of friends here. I see Leslie Manookian, which was very sweet and totally unnecessary. But what happened after that was a deluge of texts, emails, and phone calls from major media. And they are clearly freaked out by this Medical Freedom Coalition, really freaked out by it, the mainstream. And so I'm actually thinking that means that we're right over the target, trying to do this individually in the States.
Yeah, so ending mandates and medical freedom somehow got a lot of response, which is, to me, medical freedom is at the core. If you can't say no to a medical intervention, you're a slave. You're cattle.
Yeah.
So
I can see that and up it. I got this from Robin. So this is I can't remember this bitch's name, but she's the head of the EU.
It also means a healthier world. And vaccination is our best chance to do this.
Okay, so but this is actually with the filter. They removed this filter, but this is with the filter.
Better world also means a healthier world. And vaccination is our best chance to do this. Vaccines have saved millions of lives in the past 50 years. But right now, millions of children are still at risk. They need vaccine.
Yeah,
they need
exactly.
formaldehyde.
Exactly. I think that was my comment above that video. Welcome to the Hunger Games, because that's what I saw. That's exactly what I saw.
Yeah, man, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It came straight out of central casting of Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Do you remember a couple of years ago we interviewed Ron Rees? He was in contact with Zev Zelenko early on, and he untangled the role of zinc, and zinc ionophores like hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah.
I saw a post referring to him, and what he pointed to, which was Ralph Barrick from North Carolina, Chapel Hill, those your local friendly bioweapons depot. He'd done a paper in 2010 pointing to zinc and zinc ionophores like hydroxychloroquine, like ivermectin. So they knew there were treatments that worked. They came with the antidote as well as the weapon. But that was withheld from us, which is now you probably haven't been following this, but a whole lot of scientists in the woo space.
Oh yeah, we're doing this in the quiz. They're all gone missing.
Have gone missing, and one of them is this fellow, David Wilcock.
Yeah.
So this is deep woo, but it's fascinating, and some of the it's like where's Waldo?
I made that today.
But this particular clip sort of might sort of explain. Well, I'll just play it. It's 1 minute. So this is David Wilcock, who died recently.
One of the things that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist. Now, what do I mean by allowed to exist? I mean that they are aware that there are benevolent forces that will prevent them from achieving their goals unless we give them permission to enslave us. Ultimately, the universe is intelligent, alive, and conscious, and it is benevolent. It is a benevolent consciousness. That consciousness does not allow the negative to succeed unless it is invited. So the cabal has made a science, a very elaborate science, out of studying these arcane, occult, magical principles that allow them to get away with what they do. So they have to put out everything that tells you who they are in music videos, in these Super Bowl halftime shows, the Grammy Awards ceremonies. They're out there showing you the truth. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic, and they are very, very good at it.
So yeah, that's called the revelation of the method, I believe. And yeah, this is, you know, in all the sci-fi movies, you wonder why the current world is so maps so well like to 1984 Brave New World, They Live, etc. They've been telling us their plans, and maybe that's one of the reasons I don't watch Netflix anymore, because I don't consent, and I think we can't consent to their plan. So we reveal it, but we're also going to go, no, we're not going to accept this bullshit. I've got one of Bill Gates, but I can't, talking about digital ID in India and monitoring health records and keeping tabs on farmers for climate problems. But I can't bear to watch it. Look, some good
for tomorrow night. There's only that's why I'm doing the quiz.
Some good news. Dandelion root in this article by Nicholas Halsher eliminates 95% of cancer cells in lab and cuts human tumor growth in mice. Over 90%, no toxicity. So
wow. Yeah, we drink dandelion tea a lot. There's an interesting, though, some of these sciences, I was reading about it because we're trying to get a question for it tomorrow. One of them has just vanished when she was working with walking with friends. Colleagues were nearby, and she just vanished.
Well, I mean, one of the scientists that disappeared is this woman. Amy Eskridge, and she's fascinating because she talks about like she had a company working on anti-gravity.
Yeah, that's right.
Anti-gravity, and here she's talking about how they could have duplicated the experiment of Podkletnov's experiment, but they didn't do it properly. So in effect, burying the anti-gravity research. But she gone missing. And
she actually put something that she's not suicidal. But it's interesting, isn't it? Yep, go on.
And in reference to, we had George Fareed on this week, and he was talking about, cheap generic drugs, including, two of my benediction, holy horse paste and the hydroxy. and they did a observational study of people with cancer who were given quite modest doses of ivermectin, but apparently the CIA has known about this since the 1950s, and it's been buried. So that's
funny.
The CIA 50 years ago knew that there was evidence that taking an anti-parasitic like ivermectin could reduce tumors, and they classified it and hid it?
Correct. It was a Soviet study. These Soviet scientists found that both tumors and parasites and these antiparasitics exerted similar mechanisms, and they found that it exerted anti-cancer activity in animals. And that study was classified by the CIA in the 50s and not declassified until 2011. So, that did significantly set back some of this vital cancer research.
So, it's been known and classified for over 50 years. And now we have George Fareed come on in 2026 and say, good news, guys, you should look at ivermectin and mebendazole and or fenbendazole. And he added a couple of extras if you didn't watch it. There's something called the Reset 5, which adds metformin, which is a common anti-diabetes drug, sulforaphane, which is in broccoli and the cruciferous vegetables. And as you recall, I said to him, I have a factory of sulforaphane in my kitchen, and it's called a broccoli sprouter because the sprouts are very rich in sulforaphane, which I've known for years is a powerful anti-cancer agent. And aged garlic extract, which and what the article in the Desert Review points to is that these all have different mechanisms to target. So yeah, will anyone spend any money testing these safe, things that you could grow in your kitchen or get from your GP for your, head lice or your diabetes, your glucose levels? No, they're not rushing, and I suspect that's because they don't like us on some level.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? Maybe they just see us as workers. 8 billion of us, They lose a few.
And I think I mentioned when George was on the other day about a underground in London. This is the clip. Speaking of they don't like us.
Here I am at the infamous assisted dying adverts at Westminster Tube. There are quite a lot of them, so if I walk down this way, I'm also going to get, hey, fancy a bit of assisted dying. Now this is the bit, and there's also this is the bit that no one.
Just show us the fucking ad, girl. Global.
Right. Let's look over here too. Global. Right. I'm going to say this 1,000,000 times.
You show us the ad.
And I look crazy again because I'm in the tube station. Global.
Yeah, we get it. Show us the ad.
Global.
Show us the fucking ad.
Would you want the production company that gave you the news agents with John Sopel, Emily Maitlis, and Lewis Goodall to be running the tube advertising? Would you want the company that gave you LBC with James O'Brien, Paul Brand sometimes, and Carol Vorderman to run the tube adverts? They're very divisive. They put a lot of political content out. Well, they are running the tube adverts. Look, it says global. They're running most of them. In September, they got one of the biggest outdoor advertising contracts.
She's not going to show us the ad, is she?
So people are saying, why doesn't TfL take them down?
Yeah, so you get glimpses of it, but that's Westminster Tube. I think by the time you get to the platform, you're ready to throw yourself on the
I was going to say Westminster Tube assisted
dying ads. Yeah, they're just. So this is what I mean. Maybe they don't like us. You know, that's my comment on that.
We're trying to find one here. Just bring it up. And oh my god! Oh my god! Wait till you see this. Wait till you see this. This is wow, man. Oh my god! Wow! 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 Oh, this is incredible. Okay.
Talk about saturation advertising.
Oh my god. Okay, let's go here. Save it. Okay, bring it up. Image file. See if it'll come up. Will it come up? Okay, so watch this. Look at that. She's so happy she's gonna die. Is my family won't see me suffer and I won't have to. Yippee! I'm gonna die. Wow, man. Wow.
She looks pretty full of life to me.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is extraordinary.
Yeah. I mean,
my dying wish is to play with the ones I love. Man, they're everywhere. This is there's anyway.
All right. So I look, that's just a follow on from, because I mentioned it with George, with our talk with George Fareed, doctor.
Yeah, he hated it. He hated his sister dying. Absolutely hated it. Yeah.
You know, because the American culture is still one of saving life, which is the one I remember when I practiced. It makes it really hard. And the other thing, like people who have got untreatable end-stage conditions that are suffering, I'm not against assisted dying in the past. What happened was I lost my trust in the profession. I lost, with COVID and the way they were, their loss of ethics and their ideological capture, now it's become a very dangerous thing to give.
Yeah.
I trust years ago I would have supported it, but that's when I still had trusts. After COVID, I don't trust the profession to have that power.
No, I'm just going to show you one more. Do you know what's interesting? Here's another one coming up. Do you know what's interesting? You got there's two that I can't get because they've just been. I don't know why people aren't taking and posting it. This is another one. Now, here, bring it up, and let me be the first one to fire. But here it comes. So here's another one. Look at this one. So that's the first one. My dying wish is to play out with the ones I love. Oh, I'm playing the guitar because I'm so sick. You know what? It's really interesting. No Muslims on those ads. They're not suggesting it to the Muslims. I'm just saying. They're just suggesting it to the white people. Yeah. Maybe there's another one out there. I don't see it.
And they're preparing conscription and for war so that the white people can fight the other white people in Russia. But
no, we're at war. I've been saying it now. I've said it. I did my thing. I said, listen, there's 6 steps. You can see everything from, I'm not going to go through it now, but I really believe there's a war upon us, and we're not allowed to mention it. We're just not allowed to bring it up.
No, we haven't for years. But that was one of the things I think we're different. We sort of sensed that there was a war, but we just couldn't give it a name.
I mean, look at the refinery accident. Has there been any thorough investigation? I mean, we've got this much of. We've only got 2 refineries. We're in a petrol crisis. One blows up. Where's the huge Royal Commission into it? Where's this? What happened? Nothing. Because Albanese doesn't even mention it.
I think because it's global. I saw this this week, and remember I did the Making of Men rites of passage, and so this is a bit of a follow-on to that. I love this, and I sent it to my kids, and I think my comment was they'll understand it in about 20 to 30 years.
From dad knows nothing to dad was right about everything. 5 years old, dad knows everything. 7 years old, dad knows a lot. 10 years old, maybe dad doesn't know everything. 12 years old, dad doesn't know anything. 14 years old, dad's gone crazy. 16 years old, I can't take dad seriously. 18 years old, what does dad even know? 22 years old, dad's talking nonsense. 24 years old, I know more than dad. 26 years old, dad seems to know some things after all. 30 years old, I think I should ask dad about this. 40 years old, it's amazing how dad went through all this. 45 years old, dad's been right all along. 50 years old, if dad were here, I could have learned so much from him. So while you still can, listen to him, appreciate him, because one day his silence will teach you more than his words ever could.
Yeah, so for the dads out there, I sent it to my kids in the hope that in
Good luck.
30 years time they'll go, oh
yeah. Yeah, maybe. Oh, in your case, I think they will. But there's anyway, are we going to wrap it up now? I can't take any more bad shit.
I probably could just do one, two very quick things.
No cat videos. Something uplifting.
Well, uplifting, do you know?
Or something.
Yeah, look.
They're trying to bring us down. So we have to. What I really believe now is that they're trying to get the real war is to get their darkness in our souls, which is why I think we must balance if we're putting out shit. That's the quiz show is really interesting. How do you get the laughter and stuff? Because the laughter pushes the darkness out.
Do you find Ralph Babbitt uplifting? I thought he.
I'm going to tell everyone at home that's watching this right now, and I'm sitting in my nation's capital now, and I'm telling you from my experience, the people that you elect to run your country are puppets. They are not the true wielders of power. Donald Trump likes to call this the deep state. And I'm going to tell you now that the deep state is alive and well in Australia, and it is alive and well in the UK. Of course, it's alive and well in the United States. We're all seeing that play out right now. So do everything you can, everyone that's watching this broadcast, everyone that's hearing my voice. You must be more involved in the political process. You must take action. You need to be active, because if you're not active, the people behind the scenes that sit in the shadows, and they are there, that control the levers of power, they don't have your best interests at heart. And I choose my words very carefully here. They don't have your best interests at heart. These authoritarian tyrants want nothing but to see you be a serf, be a slave, be a peasant, while they sit at the top of the pinnacle of power. And they use their agents in the parliament to bring that to pass. So do not be complacent. Get active, join a party, run for parliament, make your voice heard, because the West, all of the West, is looking down a barrel right now. I'm going to.
I think he's right. I think I said.
No, look, I'm going to trump you with something beautiful. I can't hear any more shit. I really can't. I just cannot hear any more bad fucking news. I just can't. In fact, it might even be the algorithms doing that to bring us down. This has had 100 million views. This is
La ballena azul produce una leche tan densa.
You don't need to hear him.
Milk.
That's a milk for a whale. Look at that. Look at that.
Wow.
You know, if that's not evidence of a god, I can't believe nature just accidentally found a way to feed a calf underwater with milk. I just don't believe it just randomly happened. I just don't. And it's and I think there is creation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that a few times. There's great beauty in the world, and stuff like this. And people, you know, nothing's sticking with people now. The Epstein files, you know, that lesbian woman eating babies, even though it didn't work because she looks like an old lesbo. You know, there's it's not working. And I think people are craving towards laughter. I think joy is a way out of it, because We can't hate our way to anywhere good. And they want us hating each other. That's why they're doing Welcome to Country. They put those guys there knowing it's going to fuck everyone off. That's what they want. And they want the people to hate the Aborigines. And we got past that. We got past hating. But they're trying to instill hate in our country now. And that's why you have to fight back with the hate. And the best way to fight back with the hate is something that Australians have deep in the DNA. It's the larrikin spirit. And that's what they're trying to impress.
They want to demoralize us.
Yeah, you got to take the piss, you know.
And I've already played the 3D print my vagina.
Yeah, that's right. But there's other things that we do with it. You know what I mean? It's there, and I was telling people in this march yesterday. I wasn't going to say this because I was with a group of people who I'd never met yesterday. Literally, apart from one or two people there who I'd interviewed, the rest I'd never met. I'm in a shed on a farm, and I brought up the bee, and they hadn't heard of it. And I said, we started organically. Yeah, great. We started organically as the freedom movement because we just organically, you know, we had no real structure. There was different people going to be leaders and all this stuff. But when we got to Epic and you were there, and in the great marches, there was great joy and love and togetherness. And in Epic, we shone. And a lot of people say, oh, we didn't take over Canberra. We weren't meant to. I think what we meant to go is that darkness is coming in and we glowed. And the only thing that made us glow was each other. By coming together, we just glowed and glowed and glowed. Now, I think, we came up with 832, which is, you know, did well for a while, but people don't like it because some people say it's religious and, you know, Buddhists and Muslims can't use it and all this stuff. And for every reason, so it plateaued, but it's still there. If you want to use it, we got it all over the bus and our stuff. But the bee, this is a native Australian bee, a creation of God. And it doesn't live in a hive. It doesn't have a sting, which is the only thing we have. And doesn't live in a hive, doesn't follow a queen, but it pollinates flowers. So it wants to be a productive part of society, but wants to think for itself. And that is us. That's all we want. We're happy to be a part of society, but leave us alone. We want to have our own thoughts. We don't want to be told a man can give birth or this or penalized for having different thoughts. And in the freedom movement, this is what's happening. I'm going to say it now. We have been, what's the word where they get in? Infiltrated. We have been infiltrated with people over these last 6 years who are carefully dividing us. And I believe they've been paid. Anyone out there who's constantly getting on and going, oh, what do you think of this person? That person's this, that person's that. How do we benefit? We're only this small, beautiful community, and anyone who's dividing us is not our friend. And I think we should start a new ideological community and start talking about a constitution, because something could give us an identity. And so that could be a symbol, is what we want to be, but also could be the foundation of an identity. I watch Ben, who I love it when he comes on, he goes, hey, freebies, and others come on and say, hey, bees, and hey, bees. We've got Margot from Bangalore, who has it on the front of her motorbike. She's made her own bee. So all the groups, you don't have to have this bee, make your own bee and make your own bee. But they're coming in. It could be for fundraising. It could be collector's items. But the thing is, even if you're wearing it as a brooch, Robin has air fresheners in the car. It's just a symbol of what I am. I am a person. I love society. I want to be a part of society, but I want to think for myself. And I think this, if they started seeing the bee on the back of cars, the bee everywhere and stuff like this, however the bee is, I think that could be a very powerful thing. And then once you've got an identity, you can fight for it. And at the moment, the freedom movement is all broken and fighting over. People have said, oh, I've basically cancelled Hoodie because he doesn't believe in chemtrails. Hoodie is a gift. He's a gift. He's our statesman. You know, you can trust him to go on stage and not swear like me. He holds himself there. He's got that. He's a gift. And we're all each other's gifts. And we found that at Epic. With the lesson we learned at Epic, whether you realized it or not, was God taught us at Epic. I'm giving you two things to get through everything: a sense of humor, which we've got to hold on to, and each other. And what we have is what I think is why this division is people go, oh, he doesn't hate, and he doesn't hate that person in Palestine. Fuck you hating. It's not about thinking the same because we're black sheep. It's not about thinking the same. We can't think the same. That's our strength. What we need to do is respect each other, that we think differently, but we want the same thing.
Yep.
Independence, freedom of thought. I have so many people, and can you stop this? Anyone's watching. Stop sending me stuff which says, oh, you shouldn't fucking post that. Yeah, I'll post whatever the fuck I want to post because I'm free. And see, we're in the freedom movement, and you're telling me not what to do. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yes, we get enough censorship from the state.
Now, anyone in the movement is telling people you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't talk to that, you shouldn't do this. Look at yourself in the mirror. Our strength is that we are free. The other side, to stay in their herd, is going, can men give birth? Yeah. You see the politicians. Can you define a woman? They're like, let me tell you about a woman. Now you got me going. Let me tell you about a woman. Every human being you see on this planet was constructed inside a woman. From nothing. From one sperm meeting an egg. And they built, and this person isn't just this set of limbs. They've got their own personality, their own outlook, their own thoughts, their own dreams, everything inside a woman. And do you think you can cut your dick off and become one? Fuck off. You insult your mother, your grandmother, and every other woman that's gone through the pain of childbirth to get here. No wonder they live longer than us. I even heard recently from this scientist online, and it blew me away. Because it said, what's menopause? Nature has brought in, or God or whoever has brought in menopause because they've said there's something more important a woman can do than give birth. So instead of having women giving birth into their 90s, it ends. And you think, why? Why did they? Because I've seen women go through menopause. It's a pain in the ass. I'm glad I'm a man. I don't have to go through it. So why do they go through it? And guess what the answer was? And it blew me away. Guess what the answer was? Education. Education. Childbirth is dangerous. Child rearing is hard. The grandmothers are there to help the new women give birth, teach them about periods, teach them about this, get them through, because being a woman is really tough. And I think this is where we're getting. So you see these politicians that go, a man can be a woman. It's insane.
Yeah, it's very disrespectful.
Completely disrespectful. What you are is someone who wants to be a woman, and if you want to be a woman, I get that. Well, I don't really, but if it's in your thing, no problem, no problem. And there's the disabled toilet, because the toilet, that's women's base, that's women's business. And what women have to go through in this life, and I know there's a lot of people who hate women, but what they have to go through in life, even if they don't give birth, but if they do, they've got the periods and all this other shit they go through. I'm sick of it. And I'm going to say what I want and have I want, because that is my freedom. And ASIO, you want to arrest me? You're psychopath. The laws that ASIO are bringing
it's a war.
Psychopathic.
It's a war on individuality.
That's right.
You know, when people like John Locke and Bastiat talked about life, it was to live a life as an individual, not as a drone. You know?
Right.
And meanwhile, Babylon B, the Canadian astronaut, humanely euthanized after suffering a light bruise during takeoff. You know, that's look. One very short last clip, I think, because this guy is.
If your brain keeps replaying the same negative thought like it's a hit single from 2007, then you don't have a thinking problem. You have a wiring problem. If you're new here, I'm Michael. I help you master your energy so you can up spiral your life. If you're into that, follow me and click the link in my bio. Repetitive negative thinking lives in a loop between your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala. And the more you rehearse it, the stronger that circuit gets. You've heard that phrase, neurons that fire together, wire together. That's Hebb's law. So every time you replay the negative thought, you're not processing it, you're reinforcing it, which means you'll simply get better at doing it. Here's how you interrupt it. Step 1, say out loud, oh, there's the overthinking part of my brain pretending it's helping again. When you label a thought, you activate the prefrontal cortex, and this alone lowers amygdala activity. And you move suddenly from being immersed in the negative thought loop to observing the negative thought loop. And now you're suddenly back in the driver's seat. Step 2, move your eyes from left to right for 20 seconds deliberately. Lateral eye movement recruits both sides of your brain, and it disrupts the negative thought loop. Negative thought loops hate bilateral stimulation. The big takeaway here is you don't beat negative repetitive thinking by arguing with it. You beat it by interrupting the circuit. Name it and move your eyes, and you break the loop. Your brain's not broken, it's just efficient, and you get to pick what it gets good at. Follow me and comment the word up, Spiral, and I'll send you some more.
So I think that's science-based and useful. If you're finding yourself...
I've heard that before. They used to say, hit your head. That's what they used to say. They put a good thought here, your bad thought, and push it like this. Because we all go through depression. I truly believe that the whole of society is based on making us feel worthless. And they start at school. You're not tall enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not pretty enough. Unless you are pretty enough, they can use you. And that's it. And you're actually a miraculous being. And AI might get very, very clever, but probably give it all up to be a human being. And as far as we know around us, I know there's a lot of flat earthers here, and I respect you. You're a flat earther, no problem. You believe it. I just happen to believe the world's round, and even then, it's a mystery to where we are. But everything we are, I know people say they want to be a dolphin, they want to be a bird. These things would be great, but to be a human being is majestic. It's majestic. It's. And yeah, so and that thing about babies, that's not something I learned on Instagram. You know where I learned it? She's gonna hate me, but I was with Kelly the other day and I looked down at her belly and you can't see that she's had 2 children. Her stomach is all healed up like it's not. But there are 2 human beings walking around. I'm not going to say anything about them, walking around with their own lives, because Kelly was the gateway from nothing to the light. And that's for all the women out there to do. Yeah, so these are things. We are miraculous. We are wonderful. And there's people that are trying to destroy that and say we'd be better off dead. It's time to fight. You don't have to get into politics because not everyone's into politics. I couldn't sit there in bloody Parliament House listening to all their bullshit. Be an artist. Be a muso. Just wear a bee. Don't go to do anything. Anyone can do everything. It's all little waves. And we can change things. And now's the time. They've got nothing good they're offering us. They're taking us somewhere that's not conducive to the human soul. So just don't go there.
Don't go there. And if you're finding you're having repetitive negative thoughts, I think that guy's advice is right. Just notice it. Just notice it. And watch Monday Night at the Clo and name the thought. My brain's doing that thing.
At the end of the world.
And yes, psychologists I know have talked about this lateral eye movement. It's a real evidence-based thing. So that'll be the last. I think we've covered enough. I've run out of cat videos.
Well, I'm going to go out with my favorite song. So I'm Cyril at Simon's, and Simon is humanizing. He's got a few other songs coming on his too, including one Thought Police will get up. But I'm loving human stuff coming. So AI did the Remains version in like 3 seconds, and it did well. But this is a human version. I filmed it. Simon's doing it, and I love it. And this is about the danger we're in. It seems like a simple song, but everything looks the same, but everything's changed somehow. And that's what we're seeing. You've got to see that underneath it, that's where the issue is, and that's what we got to fix. And we're not going to fix it with our current state of politicians. We have to actually want.
We can't vote out the deep state, so we have to do a dual double filtration plasmapheresis.
Okay, Butterfly. I'm going to send you all the songs too. Yeah, sorry. Finish what you say, Paul. I just saw Butterfly because she won last week.
Yeah,
sorry,
one of the reasons we can't vote them out is what Babbitt said.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a deep state. We don't vote for them. We have to change. We have to get rid of the complexity and the bullshit and get down to simplicity. And part of that simplicity is resilience and having enough fucking energy to run the country.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Talk to all the people that lived under communism. All of them say the same thing. You cannot comply your way out of communism. And if you comply, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Look at us now. 6 years on, before we'd never heard of COVID and things were basically going along, not so bad. Now we've got COVID. Now we've got all the other shit. Now they're talking about famine. This, we are not on the road to anywhere good, and it's orchestrated, and you all know it. It's everywhere. So what you going to do about it?
Yeah, we'll get through it. We'll get through it together. Love you guys.
Yeah, guys. It Remains by Simon O'Rourke and me. I wrote it. Good night. See you.
How did we reach here? Where the view looks like the view I used to see. But somehow everything's changed. Everything's gone, yet remains. I went to the shops and the prices going up faster than I paid. Yet we're doing the checkouts like we've been demoted to slave. Somehow everything's changed. Everything's gone, yet remains. How did we get here? How did we go so wrong? Price we're paying, so weak when we were so strong. Cause I remember when you were here with me. We didn't know the answer, cause we was young and free. And our eyes were brighter, and our laughter longer. And I just wanna go there. I just wanna go there. Somehow everything's changed. Everything's gone.